Hi all, this is Swetha Kulkarni. Me and my friend Harish are gonna present on Introduction to jQuery today. So let's start. I'll start with the content of our presentation, which is what is jQuery, jQuery history, features of jQuery, features, syntax, syntax examples, jQuery selectors, events, effects of jQuery, jQuery effect syntaxes, and last, references. So let's go ahead. Introduction to jQuery. jQuery is a JavaScript library. It greatly simplifies JavaScript programming and it is really easy to learn. So I'd like to tell one thing about the jQuery. It is really free to download, and it is the most popular JavaScript library which has been used in today's date, and it really simplifies our work of programming. So the prerequisites required for jQuery are HTML, which is the markup language which we are learning in our course, CSS, and JavaScript. So CSS and JavaScript deals with the presentation and behavior of our web pages, as we all know, because we have been doing that. History of jQuery. jQuery is a fast and concise JavaScript library created by John Resig in 2006. jQuery simplifies HTML document traversing, event handling, animating, and AJAX interactions for rapid web development. And as we all know, scripting languages cannot communicate with the operating system. They are client-side languages, so they cannot even access the databases present in our system. So jQuery works on the DOM, which is Document Object Modeling. And what does jQuery exactly aim at? So jQuery aims at leveraging CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. And this means this is simplifying our task of programming. For example, in JavaScript, if we have to write a program to hide or show some lines or pages in our website, we have to write a very big program for that. And using the jQuery, we just have to use the syntaxes present in it, elements. So this is how it simplifies. And advantages of jQuery. This is really a lightweighted language, easy to learn using familiar CSS syntax and intuitive. Many plugins available, easy to extend, rich community. jQuery also simplifies a lot of the complicating things from JavaScript, like AJAX calls and DOM manipulation. As I have already mentioned, the way it simplifies the programs we do in JavaScript, it already has the pre-written program for everything we do, like most of the things we do in our JavaScript. So it really simplifies our work of programming. So the jQuery library contains the following features: HTML DOM manipulation, CSS manipulation, HTML event methods, effects, and animations. Also utilities. So many large multinational organizations are using jQuery to simplify the programming, because as you have already seen their websites, there's a really lot of stuff in it. So how do they manage? How do they create all these web pages and all? So they use jQuery to simplify their programming. So some of the big organizations which use jQuery are Netflix, NBC, Best Buy, Dell, Amazon, Twitter, etc. And this syntax part will be continued by my friend Harish.
Thanks a lot, Shweta, for all that wonderful introduction. Hello, friends, and now we are going to deal with the syntax part of the jQuery. The basic syntax of the jQuery is like this: dollar sign followed by a selector and it is followed by action that we are going to perform. Selector is nothing but a p tag or an angular tag or an image or an element that we're going to perform action on, and the action should be within the parenthesis. So the action can be a hide function or a slide function or a fade function or of that sort. So it basically simplifies our programming code, and jQuery is really easy and to implement, and it relieves a lot of programming strain. And as you see on the screen, you should have a dollar sign in order to initiate a jQuery, and the parenthesis that we use is for putting the action field, and uh, the jQuery action is performed on the elements. And let's move to the next slide. Okay, so let's see few basic syntax examples of jQuery. As you can see, these are the basic examples. Dollar sign this dot hide, p dot hide, and test dot hide, dot test dot hide, hashtag test dot hide. So what all this does is they basically hide the element within the this parameter. Sorry, the selector. So all this field does have the selectors. So this is a kind of selector. This is used wherein if you have to hide a document or a page, and which p dot hide hides the p tag or the element within the p tag, and dot test dot convention is used when we are using a class, and when we are initiating the jQuery with a class field, and hashtag must be used when we are using the selector with an id function. And next up we have jQuery selectors. As I've already told a few basic selectors, let's deal with the slide. Uh, by default, all the selectors in the jQuery start with a dollar symbol. So that's a mandatory thing. If you have to use a jQuery, it should start with a dollar symbol. A jQuery selector can help us to manipulate the HTML element. So which is basically if you have to do some operation on it, a jQuery is a perfect tool that through which we can do those kind of operations and manipulations. jQuery selectors are used to find the HTML elements based on their name. Yeah, so like as I've told in my previous slides, we can use different naming conventions and different selectors by their IDs, types, classes, attributes, and etc. Let's move forward with the next slide. So what are events? jQuery. So as you all know, event is the thing what we do when an action is performed or when an action is captured. So let's say if you have downloaded a page and you're trying to open. So the thing that happens after downloading a page and after opening a page will be considered as an event. So that's a layman definition of an event. Let's look at what is written over there. Events happen on the user's end. If a user selects the button on website, clicks on an element, then that will be recorded as an event. So it is just saying that if you have a submit button, so upon clicking a submit button, if some action is performed, so that can be considered as an event. And next, the most commonly used jQuery event method are document.ready and click. Next up we have effects of jQuery. So these are the basic things that we can perform on jQuery. So there are a lot of things, but like these are few examples that are given here. jQuery hide slash show, jQuery fade, animate, stop, callback, chaining. So chaining is a thing wherein we use multitasking or multi-querying within a single jQuery. jQuery hide and show is used if you have to hide an element or show up an element, and same goes with fading, animation. Stopping is like a thing wherein if you have implemented a jQuery to slide, and if you want to stop the sliding, you can use this function called as jQuery stop, and callback is the same thing if you have to call back a function or call back something. So next up we have jQuery FX syntaxes. So these are the syntaxes for the previous slides. So this is how we write the jQuery fade in, fade out, and within the parenthesis we describe the action to be performed. So fade in, fade out, toggle, fade to. So these are the few basic effects. Likewise, we have a jQuery slide down, slide up, toggle, stop sliding. So slide down is a thing wherein if you have to move a slide, move a piece of element to a position, so we can use instead of changing the whole script, you can just use this slide down query. So within the parentheses, you can put a value for this, so which basically moves the parameter by that much of value. So example, if you have to move a heading to a 100 value, so you put a heading in the selector, and then you put the value in the parenthesis. That's how it works. We still have a few more queries. So this is one of the other queries. Likewise, I've told dollar sign is used to initiate the jQuery, and the selector is the field wherein we have to put an element that we are performing action on, and this is the action that we are performing, and these are the few parameters that we are going to pass, and these parameters can be values or the arguments. No, we can't pass the arguments, but these are the actions that we're gonna do. And likewise, I've told jQuery chaining. So jQuery chaining is kind of multitasking that we do in all the other programming stuff. So jQuery chaining eases our work, and we can put lots of stuff into a single query, and we can do multiple tasking with this. So the example syntax can be hashtag p1. So this hash is used when we use a id function. So id p1. So p is an element that we are working on. So css. So what does this mean is we are first changing the color of the p tag to red, and then we are moving this p tag to a value called as 2000 up, and then we are moving it 2000 down. So that's how it works, which means we are doing 1 2 3 4 tasks in a single query. So which is a great thing that we are doing. If you are going for the normal things, we'll have to write a big program to do this, but whereas in jQuery it has multi-chaining, so which eases our work. So next up we have references. These are the references that we have worked on. We have worked on a lot for this, so please go to the references. And thanks a lot guys for watching this video, and please do share your valuable feedback. Thank you.